Ladies and gentlemen, warriors of truth, sit up, because we gotta talk. This is not your regular broadcast. This is war on the airway, okay? Before we begin, I want you to hit the subscribe button with, you know what, with the force of a roaring lion. Can you do that for me? I really appreciate that, okay? Hit the like button, drop a comment, and share this message with our cousins who haven't seen this video, because the world must hear that Africa is no longer kneeling. Air France. Yes, the same colonial era airline that once flew across African skies with the arrogance of a colonial whip. Now they want back into Burkina Faso, right? But Captain Ibrahim Traoré has drawn the line in the sand, right? You can resume operations, but only if you stop using our land to fly into Niger. That's it. Let me repeat that slowly for those still under neo-colonial anesthesia, okay? Captain Ibrahim Traoré told France to pick a side, right? You want our business? Then stop using us to sneak into our brother's land. That was it. And that, my friends, is what sovereignty sounds like. That is a breath of fresh air, right? That is what sovereignty sounds like. Not statements written in Paris and signed in Africa, but African man standing up with a spine, right? And not spaghetti. So here's what France said, okay? After the people of Niamey said enough is enough, France went crawling to their old connection, trying to fly back into Niger via Burkina Faso. But Captain Ibrahim Traoré was watching. This is a man trained by the system, right? But now fighting the system, right? He was trained by the system and is now fighting the same system he was trained by. And he made it clear, you can't use our country to fly into another sovereign you can't use our country to fly into another sovereign African nation you're trying to undermine, right? We are not tools. So Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't just block their planes. He blocked their mentality, the mentality that says that Africa is still a playground for European tricks. That mentality, right? I know Thomas Sankara and Kwame Nkrumah are dancing in their grave right now. But here's the thing, France still thinks we're blind, right? Because France thought it was slick, okay? It thought they could use Burkina Faso's airspace, sneak into Niger, and keep exploiting resources while pretending to care about stability. Now, stability is stability. But let me ask you, when has France ever flown into Africa to bring peace? Never. They come with weapons and contracts, not medicine and unity. France has never respected African sovereignty, right? They only fear resistance. And now that Burkina Faso has joined the alliance of the Sahel states, right, with Mali and Niger, the French are panicking, shaking in their boots, panicking. They are seeing the birth of something new, an Africa that says your presence is no longer welcome. We got this from here on. So Air France wants to resume flights, right? Fine. But Captain Ibrahim Traoré's condition is simple. You want our airports? Then use it to undermine. You want our airports? Then don't use it to undermine another state, right? Don't use it to undermine another African state. What he's really saying is no more backdoor betrayal, right? No more double game. We see the play, we see the moves. Choose respect or stay out. That is leadership. That is Pan-Africanism, and it's catching fire. Burkina Faso isn't just blocking playing. To me, they're blocking betrayal. That is it. They're blocking betrayal that they can see is going to happen. But let's connect the dots, okay? Because some of you still think that these events are isolated. They're not. Remember what happened in South Africa just days ago, right? The United States slashed millions in aid after South Africa refused, right, to bow to Washington over the country we cannot mention, and Palestine. Boom! Aid cut, sanctions whispered. The message was clear. You obey us, right? You either obey us or suffer. Same playbook, different page. Same playbook, different page. Whether it's South Africa or Burkina Faso, right? The West is using everything from aid to airspace to squeeze compliance. The only difference? One country bent, the other country stood tall. That's the only difference. See, France is testing the waters, okay? They want to know, can they still bully Africa with smiles and suitcases full of empty promises? They want to know if that playbook still works, right? They tried it with Niger. Guess what? Failed. They tried it with Mali. Failed. Now Burkina Faso is next. And this is why Ibrahim Traoré's stance is bigger than just one airline. This is why it's bigger than just one airline. It's about who controls African skies, African land, and Africa's future. Because if Air France gets in without respecting the alliance, it's not just a plane, it's a Trojan horse. So let me break it down like this, okay? Africa doesn't hate the West. We hate disrespect. We hate being treated like pit stops on someone else's war map. We hate being tools. We hate being tools in the hand of power-drunk foreigners who can't even fix their own broken houses. If France respected Africa, they wouldn't need conditions, right? They'd come clean, they'd come honest, they'd come humble. But since they won't, Ibrahim Traoré is setting the rule. Respect Niger or get out. And you know what? That is how it should be. That is how it should be. Now to my fellow Africans in power. Listen carefully, okay? Leadership is not wearing a suit and signing loan. It's standing for something. It's defending something. It's saying no even when the bribe looks beautiful. Even if it's money you have never seen before. Even if it's money that your ancestors and whole family have never seen before. If more leaders were like Ibrahim Traoré, our airports wouldn't be spy routes for foreign agenda. Our enemies wouldn't be trained to suppress our people. Our skies wouldn't be tools for invasion. Africa needs more leaders who say, my brother's security is my business, right? Because today it's Niger, tomorrow it might be us. So what happens now? Well, that depends on us, right? If we remain silent, the same France will fly back in, shaking hands and planting knives. But if we raise our voices, if we support leaders like Ibrahim Traoré who speak truth to power, then maybe, just maybe, the next African child won't grow up under the shadow of a foreign flag. Look, it's time to choose, okay? Comfort or courage, airspace or air freedom, right? It's your choice. And Captain Ibrahim Traoré has made his choice. Now the question is, will we back him, right? Will we back him or leave him alone to fight giants with a sling? If you are tired of betrayal, tired of lies, tired of flights that come with chains instead of change, then this is your platform, okay? Subscribe, share, shout this message from the rooftops because Africa will never be owned again. This is Voice of Our Africa, right? And we don't kneel. I'll see you guys in the next one. I appreciate you guys for watching and peace.